My name is Levi Schneider, and today I'm going to be doing a brief overview of my pinball machine, Burning Shadows. This is a homebrew game that I've been working on for 3 to 4 years now, and so I'm going to give a brief overview of how the game works, just basic features of the game, and yeah. Now, one of the biggest challenges with this game was the coding. I started off building my homebrew and pinball machines in general out of only wood, using all wood mechanisms and various things. In order to make the game more in depth, what pinball machines use is coding, and to give them a more in-depth rule set, and to make the game more in depth in general, so you can do a lot more in the game. You can go along with the story of theme as well. And so the way I did that was different than what most pinball machines would use. They would use coding to do that, and every slot would have a sensor. I do still have electronics in my machine, basically lighting modes and such that go along with the modes and such, but the modes themselves and the rules, instead of going along with coding, go along with kind of a board game type system with cards. I'll explain a little more about that in a minute here, but basically I do want to look into further learning how to do a more coding-based game in the future. As for this game, it's kind of what I call like a half pinball machine, half board game is the way that it's played. So I'll already explain a little bit of how that goes. Before I go into the gameplay of the game, I'll explain a little bit about the story and theme itself as to go into the gameplay and explain how that works. So, the basic theme and story of this is it's a Pokemon world. It's kind of my own Pokemon world off to the side in the real Pokemon world, the one that everybody knows. So Burning Shadows is kind of the new region that you have come into and you're exploring. It's a volcano-ish, kind of fiery type, very rocky terrain area that you're exploring. And in this area, there are lots of new versions and types of Pokemon that nobody's ever seen before, that you are going through the areas and exploring and finding and catching those new Pokemon. So throughout there, you are going through it and going on different adventures. You have adventure cards where you go on adventures and find different things, and then the other main goal is finding Pokemon. There are a few main goals in here. One of them is catching new and discovering new Pokemon. You start out with your Frogadier, and then you move on to catching new Pokemon that are unknown, that have new abilities. And then you can therefore use those Pokemon, and then you can swap out each Pokemon in order to have different abilities and progress the game further. This one right here, it's a fire type Sandshrew, and we have a dark fire type Infernape. And then there are also a few others. As you can see, one of the main ones here is the Alakazam. That's fire type as well. And then you have a dark type Greninja right here as well. And then more will come as I progress upgrading the game more and more. Now that I explained the basic features of the game, let me go on to the basic gameplay of how the game is played. So you start basically with a few things over here, keeping track of how a few game board type aspects that keep track of how you're doing. This right here is a grid that you follow along, and as you complete different modes, you gain different things that, and then these give you new things. Here, if you get to Space 3, you put out the new either Scyther or the Sandshrew Pokemon, and those are now available to catch. And then at different levels, you get access to different areas. There are 3 different main areas in the game. There is this main play field right here that you play on, where you do your adventure modes, and you try to catch new Pokemon and a few other things. And there are also 2 other areas, 2 mini play fields that I have, where one of them you train your Pokemon to level up their XP, and as you level up XP, they do become more powerful and gain new abilities. And then I have another mini play field where you battle other trainers. Here we have the cards for each Pokemon that you have, and you keep track of their level down here, and then you have their abilities. These affect how the game works. This one, Greninja, when he's on his last ball, each mode takes one less shot. You see level 30 here, and then when you reach that, you level up to the next one. Level 40, same ability at this point. When you get to a high enough level, you evolve, and then you use the daily Pokemon, and then it adds new features. This also I have one of these for each Pokemon as well. These are the other two Pokemon I have set up right now. And evolving Frogadier, this Pokemon, does bring up one feature of the game that I have installed, and that is the playfield level. I wanted to be able to make the playfield faster, and so one of the really cool features of this game is I have a leverage system that literally, it's a mechanical mechanism that holds the whole entire playfield and brings it up. So I'll bring it down just a little bit to show you. See this lever down here, and I can pull on the whole thing to release it, and then I push it down, and the whole playfield moves. So I have 3 positions. So I have the regular position right here. This is the where you start out with, and ball moves normal speed. And then when you move to different Pokemon that are faster, the ball moves faster as well. So you move to level 2, it's a little bit steeper, and then level 3, it's all the way up here. And then the game's a lot faster. Now, as for those side mini playfields I told you about, I'll show you those right now. Those are literally side playfields. This is one of the challenges I came across. So I wanted to have a big mini playfield where you could go into a new small area to play just a little bit, a quick game, to accomplish some things. But I didn't want to take too much space out of my main playfield. Many pinball machines have very small playfields for this reason. They want the main game to focus on the big playfield and not take too much space up because it takes away room for art and characters and a lot of things like that. So I solved this problem by literally putting the playfields, hiding the playfields underneath. And this is a little different. So there's little drawers, so it looks normal here. Let me get a better view. Side of the playfield pops out. I have a little drawer here. This one also lights up as well. I'll turn it off for the sake of the lighting. You see, you can have, this is the training grounds where you train your Pokemon. So I have different kinds of flippers over here as well. And then various Pokemon you knock down to gain levels. And this side is a little less hidden. I have not completed the plate right here to make it match the rest of the side cabinet. But anyways, this one is also another drawer that pops out as well, and has where you battle trainers. This one has a nice backwards flipper system. Some ramps, some loops, etc. Now we'll explain a basic overview of the cards. As I said, you have cards that you go through and that help you progress through the game and give you things. This is also the main way that you keep track of your points, to see what your score is in the end of the game. At the end of the game, each card has points on them, and at the end of the game, you'll count your cards, the points in your cards, and see how much points you've attained during the game. So you can see I have various tokens down here and such. And this is all the basic cards I designed for the game. And your main ones to focus on are these 3 down here. You have your adventure cards, like this. This one is the one you start out with, and then once you can see in this one it says level 50 at the bottom here. Once your Pokemon reaches level 50, you can use your Pokemon to draw those adventure cards, which are harder to do and also give you more victory points, and you get to more complicated, cool modes. Same here, this is the 3rd one, level 70. I only have one of those so far, but I will have more as I do more upgrades. So basically, each card, down here you have how much victory points you get for the card, and then you have the rewards. So down here you have listed what you get from completing the card, and then over here it tells you which shots you have to shoot for that. And that works a little differently for most games. Since my sensors, I don't have working sensors on the game, I decided to do it more of a board game wise. For this machine specifically, I have it set up so basically each card tells you a combination right here, a button combination. You can see there's white circles and there's a black circle in the second one. That tells you which buttons combination to press on the button console on the front of the game. And then that sets up a game, lights up certain shots, different colors, and this tells you which colors to hit in order to complete the card. And then you'll gain your rewards, you'll put it set aside and get your victory points for it, and then you'll move on. So you have adventure cards. I also have cave cards. This is a special feature in the game where you can go into caves and collect certain items. Only certain cards let you out of the caves. And this is where you mainly collect items in the game. Details I won't go too far into in this video for the sake of simplicity, but that is the basics of that. And then I also have cards here, the battle cards, where you can battle trainers, and these correlate to your battling trainer battle playfield. A few other small features, I just have a few single cards that are all different for special things. Team Magma Trio, once you defeat all these trainers in your battle cards, you get this, which gives you a skill shot, extra ball, and 200 points. Nose Pass is another feature in the game where I can set a magnet, there's an electromagnet up on the top of the left flipper, so you can control that manually so that you can easier time it and give yourself time to hit the shots off of the left flipper. Also have these cards for Abra. They give you basically teleportation ability to teleport to different playfields easier, and then always to these foreign grounds, places that you can't get to without teleportation using Abra. That are basically gives you access to new cards and new modes. One feature I have in this game is the Torkoal shot, and that correlates to these Torkoal cards. There's Torkoal rewards, and then there's Torkoal rage. Throughout the game, you have to keep Torkoal happy by feeding him coal. If you know Pokemon, then it makes sense. Torkoal eats coal to stay fueled, and so you collect these coal tokens throughout different things, throughout different cards, and you feed them to him. And basically, you have to feed him enough each time. If you feed him enough coal to what he requires at the moment, you get a rewards card and get something. If you accidentally feed him without having enough, then he will rage, and you will lose points or get something. You will draw a rage card, and it will hurt you in the game, and that correlates to our Torkoal shot right here. So you can see I have a little Torkoal, that little turtle right there, and under the scoop is there. I have a solid under there to kick it back out, and that is right there. So that tells you when that's lit, and by a button on the bottom. Basically, well, I won't go into the details for the sake of this video, but that is one cool feature of the game as well. One other brief thing I have is these little sand tokens. You can see in here I have little tokens. The orange ones are to represent sand. You can see there's orange right there, and all the other colorful ones are to represent glass. Is one feature that you get when you catch sand shrew. When you catch sand shrew, and you gain the ability to basically turn the sand you've gained from cards into glass, because you can boil it down to glass, and then you get points from that as their little ore pieces. You can they give you victory points, basically, is the concept. So that's the basics of how the cards work. I'll show you here. There's a little dashboard of buttons right here. This is what I was talking about in those cards. That correlates to those buttons. So you see here on the cards as these little circles right there. that correlates to this one will tell me to press just the second button. You start that mode, so it's a hunting mode. And then this one. So now you see different shots have lit up on the playfield. I have reds and blues, and then the cards tell me which colors to shoot and how many of them, and that tells me which shots to shoot in the playfield to complete that mode. I'll give you a brief overview, a few of the shots, and the layout of the playfield. Starting off on the left here, we have a little scoop right here. This is where the game starts, off the left plunger. And yes, the plunger on this game is on the left. Such. Then we have this shot right here, where the left flipper gives you access to this cave, where you have a solenoid over there controlling that. And also, one note: all the solenoids on here are controlled off of one main control button on the side. That prevents me from having to have a sensor telling me where the ball is, when the ball is in there, and I can just press this button, and then they all fire at once. After that, we have this target shot right here. Then another target right here. That's the scoop, torque. We need Newton right here. Then we have a loop. This little Geodude shot right here. Here. You hit him. And you have this ramp. Feeds the left flipper. Center ramp. Just dead shot right here. Basically a kickback. Then we have one of the two spots where you can hit targets to damage the Pokemon that you're trying to catch. And then next to that we have a two-way loop. Right here, goes that way. You can also go enter it from the other side as well. It's a horseshoe shot. Then we have the Pokeball scoop. As prior, I know there's a Pokemon scoop on the pinball machine that Stern just came out with. Just saying. It's my idea. I started this machine well before that Pokemon pinball machine came out. Just putting that out there. Anyways, this scoop is how you catch your Pokemon. Is also a shot you end a lot of modes with, as is another scoop. And this one is actually not kicked back by a solenoid, but has another plunger on the right of the playfield that you use to bring it back out. And the scoop, or the Pokeball, actually does shake. I have a solenoid attached to this little rod here. It can make it wobble. It's on a spring, so it wobbles nicely. And there's a light inside, so it can light up as well. So you can simulate that mode where you've caught a Pokemon, where it wobbles 3 times, and then it lights up, and you've caught the Pokemon. And then I have this. Next to this, I have this loop shot right here. And this is not set up right now, but there's a little servo motor right here. I can turn this, and that will lock balls there. And you can stack them there. And then when it turns, you start a multi-ball. The multi-ball is one of the challenges I have yet to quite figure out how I'm going to do in this game, because I do not have an auto plunger. Everything is manual, so that would make it very different. And then, as I explained, I have the other side of this horseshoe under here. Also, in a couple modes, this ramp right here is controlled by a servo and changes that shot. So, and there's that shot, which the ramp comes down, then it comes over through here, and it feeds your right flipper. Then there's other shot over here, this other Newton's Cradle that backs up and hits the Geodude back there, and like that. And there's a target right here, and there's also a sneak behind right here, where you go behind here, right here, and that shot how you collect cards to go on adventures. It's also another shot I end on a lot. Okay. It's there. Stops there. So then it stops right there, so you can grab your card, look at it, start a mode, and then a solenoid kicks it back out. Over here you have 2 hidden targets for the other Pokemon, and you have these burn targets as well as other one is the burn targets where you spell burn. This area down here, right here you have 1 out lane where the ball can either go down here and then exit and drain, or if certain Pokemon you turn that over and it goes down here into the pegs. You either go down there or some reward there just goes back to your plunger. And then we have right here a sneak behind shot as well. And this shot right here is a risky shot to shoot, but anyways you have to lift your left flipper and then use your right flipper to get it in that little spot. It goes back to your plunger, but that's a shot that is very hard to hit but high reward. And then I have another outlane on the right as well. There you have it. That is the basic rundown of my pinball machine and some of its features. You can see I've got audio as well. No sound effects. I plan on looking into that, doing that, and figuring out how to better do that on my next machine. So right now I have a little iPod Classic, or iPod Nano, hooked up to the bottom here to a speaker system where I have this music. So yeah, the game is run by the coding for the lights is run by 2 Arduino Unos, and then I have a power supply running the solenoid separately, and power supply running the LED back box as well. And everything here is custom made. All the wires are, well, everything is custom made. It's literally all from scratch. Arduino Unos is what I used to do the coding, all from scratch. I didn't buy any controller boards or anything. Arduino Unos, everything is created from scratch. There is the software that many people use, Mission Pinball Framework. I want to try that out soon on the next one. But I didn't use anything like that on this. It's all complete from scratch, just learning everything from the ground up. So I am pretty happy with what I've accomplished. Very happy with what I've accomplished here. It's definitely a very different game play than a normal pinball machine, as you don't have sensors doing the game for you. You're kind of going through the rules yourself. But it does force you to learn how the game works more, and you can understand the gameplay and the rules better that way. So it's a good game for me, personally, to just play by myself. It would be very different if it was one to be sold. Obviously, you would have to change a lot of things. The board game would make it very hard. But as a game for me, that is good. So yeah, that is the basic rundown of my machine. Real quick, I'll give you that music. 2 kind of genres of music for gameplay. The intense orchestral, and then also have some little rock. And that is my pinball machine.